Shandel a little course in Be Live. So that way everybody can learn. Because I
Yeah.
have really studied this whole technology thing, so I'm happy to share it with you. So first of all, we connected through Be Live, and Shandel is on her phone, and we want her to connect through her computer. So what you're going to do, Shandel, is go to your messenger on your phone or on your computer. On your computer, go to your messenger on your computer, and I sent you a Be Live Connect.
Hmm.
So click on that, and that should connect you from your computer to this Be Live. Because right now you're on your phone, and we want to switch you to your computer. So do that. So anybody who wants to know how to do this, you can totally do this at home when you do your own Be Live.
I think I'm on.
Okay, so we're on both, right? Look. Okay. Now hang up your phone so you're no longer Be Live from your phone. Got it?
Your estimated waiting time.
Oh, girl, she. All right. Well, hopefully, she. Let me add her again. This is funny, but this is great because I think there's a lot of people out there asking how to do Be Live, and so I'm just here to share it right now, and then we're going to get into our conversation. Okay, so she should be coming on. So it'll pop up on my screen, and then I can invite her to the group. But the thing about Be Live is you have to send the link through Messenger, and then people click on that link. If you try and copy and paste it, it doesn't work. So you have to go through Messenger, click on the Be Live link, and then it'll take you up to the person that invited you, and then they can connect you. So I'm just waiting for her to come back on. But this is a great way to do a live without all the technical difficulties that I've been having. And I'm trying to teach Shandel how to do it because there's a lot of people out there that are wanting to do things like this. So I thought it'd be a great time to share it. So as soon as she connects back in, we'll get to the conversation that we're about to have. So hi, Holly Benson. I see that you're watching. Girl, I haven't seen you since high school. How crazy is that? I hope you're doing well. Okay, so Shandel just came on. She's ready to join. So I just click on show and stream, and then she's going to come on with me. There we
I
go.
think I'm on.
Okay, great. So
So
now,
this is really great. I love practicing with you. Thank you, because I feel like every week it's new technology that we're trying to navigate through. So
yeah. And the one thing I've learned from doing this is like, you're not ever going to get it 100% right doing a live. I mean, just stuff happens and you just have to go with the flow. You may not say the right thing or do the right thing, but if your intention is pure, like you're trying to help people and connect with people, that's what's important, right? Okay,
yeah.
so now Shandel wants to know, how do you share a live into one of your Facebook groups, right? So there's two ways
Hmm.
to do it. The first way is before you even start the Be Live, whoever's hosting it can go up, it'll pop up and say, where do you want to share it? You can go into all the groups that you belong to or any pages that you own, and you can click on those groups or those pages that you run. And so right now, what I did was I clicked on 3 groups that I belong to because I want them to see my content. So one of them is my own private Facebook group that I have. Another one is Shandel's private Facebook group that she has. And then my other one is my own company's public group that I have. So I have those 3 going on right now at the same time, plus Tammy Feltner's page. Okay. So you do all of that in the background before you even get on the Be Live. So, Shandel, what you can do is go on your phone right now
Hmm.
and go to your Facebook group, your private Facebook group. So, what is that called? It's beauty.
Beauty industry professionals.
Okay, so go to your beauty industry professionals page right now on your phone, and
Hmm.
this should be on there right now because I had clicked it before I got on to share this with your group.
It's not.
Okay, so I'm gonna. So what I can
Oh,
do,
it is.
it is okay. Okay, but for some reason, if it's not, say you're on your computer, you can pick up your phone on your Facebook, right? That's me and you at the top. And down here, I can start sharing it with certain people. So, like, see your name right here, Shandel Short. I can go over here and I'm going to send it to you right now. It'll
Okay.
pop up. And I just sent this link to you. So now, anybody that I want to watch this, I can privately messenger them. This is going on.
Okay.
So that's how you create connection, is you share it with a lot of people, and then they'll start coming to your page, right? So let's just use an example right now. Who should we tag to watch us right now? Who's somebody in our, who could we,
Um,
how about Miranda Augusta? That's my girl. So I'm going to send
okay.
it to Miranda, just push it on there. Let's see if she pops on. So what we'll see is right here, everybody that's watching us right now, it starts scrolling up, and then you can see people that you tag. Do they start joining your group?
Okay.
Okay.
So I can't see the live, the people that have joined, but you can, correct?
Right. I can see. Well, I'm actually looking at it on my phone. So I have my phone next to me, and I'm looking at it on my phone who's joining, and that's how I comment back to people as we're talking.
Okay.
So and usually I won't comment to somebody until you're talking, because I can't talk and type at the same time. That's the thing, is I had to learn that. Oh, look, I'm getting a phone call from Carlos.
Carlos, please hold on. I need to talk to Tammy first.
I hung up on him. But that's the thing, like, I'm sharing this to let people know the mistakes I've made. You can't be typing and trying to talk at the same time. So if you have your phone there, I can kind of glance down and see if anybody's asking me questions, and then make sure that I enroll you into answering that question, right? Like Janice Ediger just joined us. So like I could say, hi, Janice, live, because I know she's there. And I know like Eileen's there, Anthony Teague's there, Andy Lynn's there, Allie Benson. So I'm seeing all the people joining us, right? So really, I know who my audience is, who I'm speaking to. The majority of my people typically on here are hairdressers and my friends from high school, right? Another important thing is to make sure that you turn your volume down on your phone, because there is a drag. There's like a drag in the timing. So first of all, you don't want to hear the voices, and second, you start getting confused when you hear that. It's like we've already done it, and now it's coming on my phone. It's like the past.
Right. Okay.
All right. So those are just a couple.
That's good. So, and we use Be Live when trying to go live on Facebook with two people, correct? Because I know like with Instagram, we were walking through this week. I was walking through with some of our team was how to go live on Instagram and do all that kind of stuff. But with on Facebook, if you want to do a joint like we're doing, you need to use the app Be Live, correct?
Yes. So see, like if you've been following me for the last couple of weeks, I've been coming on live on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
So for whatever reason, they don't allow that anymore. So they switched everybody over to Be Live, which makes sense. I mean, I can only imagine why they did that, right? But I'm fine with it. I'll go to Be Live. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. But I just think I'm trying to share this with people so they can stay connected if this is something they want to do. And right now they're doing a free trial for 15 days on Be Live. So
great.
That's it out. So but let's think that's of why we're doing this.
Well, thanks for the lesson today. I really loved it. I think that
do this. I was trying to teach. I'm like, why don't we just go on live and teach everybody? And so
I love it. Thanks. And I will try it again later with my team. I just love how like you taught me how to do the Zoom a couple of weeks ago, and then I've like taught other people how to do it, and then we're not using Zoom. So it feels like everything's changing really rapidly, but I love that Facebook and Instagram kind of stay a little bit consistent, but have different features. So anyway, yes, thank you for joining today. Our other forms of communication were not working. So this, thanks for introducing me to this. So hopefully, I think that you get to do a lot of talking sometimes, and you get to, share with people or get other people to share. But what I had said with you is I don't think a lot of people really get to know your story unless they've worked directly with you. And I think in a time like this, your story is very powerful and could be very helpful to some hairdressers. So if you don't mind telling me a little bit about how long have you been doing hair, how you got into the industry, and a little bit about your story.
Yeah, so I've been doing hair for 28 years professionally, and then probably 10 years unprofessionally. Because before, I became a legit hairdresser and licensed, I was always doing hair for my friends, doing their nails for homecoming and prom and their makeup. And I just always loved it. I always knew I just wanted to do hair or something in the beauty industry. So, fast forward, I go to beauty school after doing 2 years of nursing school, which I hated, but I only did it because my mom had encouraged me to do that, saying, I'll never make any money. I'll always be on my feet. Hairdressers don't make money. Which, at the time, her perspective, she was right. Like, there wasn't, what was in her world were the beauty salons like Venture and I don't even know if you remember that, but they were like mom and pop shops. Like it wasn't, and not that there's anything wrong with those shops, but the perception then was she didn't know about the hair shows and the freelance artists and the creativity that's really inside of our beauty industry. It was
Mhm.
really just her taking her kids to get a quick haircut and leave. So she didn't know from her perception what this world is really about, right? But I did because I saw it in magazines at the time. We didn't have like Instagram and all that stuff, but I saw it. I would see these pictures and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I want to be a part of that. Or I'd be watching women's hair and makeup on TV shows, and I was like, I just wanted to be a part of that. So that was really my desire at a young age. And my sister always wore her makeup amazing, so I always wanted to learn how to do that. So then, go to beauty school, and the first year and a half, I literally did not know what I was doing because I never got any education,
Right.
right? So I didn't know that there was advanced education in hairdressing because then, you have to understand I'm coming from my background. So really, the salon that I went to that was a huge game changer for me was a rental salon. I went from commission to rental, and I saw what all these people were creating in their chairs. I saw the clothes they were wearing, how busy they were. They were always going to hair shows, and the energy that these hairdressers had were amazing. And I wanted to be a part of that. Like I knew if you want to be something, you got to hang around with people that are doing it, and you learn from them. So I went to go look at the salon, and my game changer was I jacked up someone's hair really bad. Oh, it was a mess. But I messed up someone's hair, and I can laugh at it now. But I'm telling you, I am so thankful for that moment because it was a pivotal moment in my life where I could have walked away, which I was going to walk away from the industry. But my salon owner said, Tammy, you just need education. That's what's missing for you. You're just going and grabbing color and doing things because people are telling you to do it, but you don't understand why you're doing it. And luckily, it worked out for me that first year and a half. Like things did work out. But when I messed up that lady's hair, so I'll tell that story because I want you to live through that moment with me. I do this lady's hair. She's just coming in for blow dries, and she was an older gal. And then she had this trust issue with hairdressers. Go figure. So I'm doing her hair and blow drying it, and then she finally lets me start cutting it. And then one day she lets me highlight it, and I'm like, oh, so excited to get to do it. So I pick up my go-to highlight formula and I do it on her hair, and we were just going to put a few foils in her hair. So I go back to the shampoo bowl and I start shampooing it, and I look at it, and it is like bright canary yellow, Shandel, and I am like dying, like what am I going to do? Right? Because I'm at this new salon. Everybody's looking at the new girl, checking out, how well you're doing. And I pulled her back up and I said, I set her up in the shampoo bowl. I said, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go grab a little toner, just tone this down a little bit. Um, I'll be right back. So I walk away. I go around to the other side of the salon, and I asked this guy Slater, like, what should I do? I'm like, totally jacked up this lady's hair. So, just for people that don't know this, we do drive-bys in salon. So if you see a hairdresser walking by, you will look at your hair and walk away. That's called a drive-by. We're walking by to see what we can do to help our partner here, our coworker, to fix the problem. So he comes back around and he's like, he mixes up some stuff in a bottle and gives it to me. Well, I walk back around, and she had gotten in her purse and had gotten out her compact and was looking at her hair, and she was bawling. And I just, oh my God, I still remember it. I was so horrible, because I knew I didn't know what I was doing at that moment. And I swore I never would do that to somebody again. I didn't want to ever make her feel that way or me feel that way again. So, I put the toner on, I fixed it, but I really was just devastated. I was like, I'm out. I am out of here. I'm never doing this again. So, anyway, long story short, my salon owner encouraged me to go get education, and I took my first advanced education course. At the time, it was called Tongue and Dye, and I went down and took the Back to Basics course. And that was the first time that I really understood color. And I was mesmerized by it. I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I knew there was more to learn. So that kind of put me into the education platform of helping other hairdressers because I know what it feels like to be that girl that doesn't know what's going on and you're just pretending like you do, hoping stuff doesn't go wrong. So that was my education journey. And I've been an educator for the last 26 years because of that. And I have always asked for why behind everything I do because I don't ever want to make that mistake again, right? And then I also know that if I do make a mistake, because it happens, right? I know I can find the answer. I just have to get educated and I have to ask for help. That was really my journey with being an educator for teaching. And I've been a commissioned salon, rental salon. I've owned my own salon and spa, and then I've also been a salon loft. So I've kind of wore all the hats inside of the beauty industry. Yeah, and it's been amazing. I've loved it. I've loved it.
Yeah, I think because we've worked together for years. So I just know that about you. And I mean, we work with so many wonderful people, and you and I have always connected, on a soul level.
Yeah.
But I just love the story because you have worked in so many different ways. And I mean, I love everybody's story for different things. But I think in our industry, when you're going in to speak with a hairdresser, or you're going in to speak with a salon owner, you've kind of held those roles in different ways. And I just think it's very powerful when you are able to speak with people, and the way that you're able to also help coach our team, like, because you do that as well as working with hairstylists. So, but I also know part of your story is that you love doing hair, which you just said, but you faced some uncertainty a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I know right now a lot of people are facing some uncertainty and they're not sure where to go. And, although their story might not be yours or might not be able to relate, I think that there's a real powerful story of how you dealt with your uncertainty that I think would be helpful. I know, but that's why I wanted to talk with you today, because
Yeah.
you have overcome uncertainty, and I get goosebumps as well in a very powerful way. And I think that just people hearing how you got through that is very powerful to be able to help some other people in our industry going through that right now.
I know. And these tears come because I know what they're feeling right now. I know. I've lived it. And I'm not uncertain now. Like, I'm very clear. But I feel the fear that's going on with our hairdressing community because I lived it. And I think I can help them. Well, girl, I got to stop crying because I know a lot of these hairdressers watching, they've personally called me crying. So it is very, it's here for me with this hairdressing community because when you love something so much and it's being taken away from you, you're freaking out. It's not even about the virus, right? It's about they live, eat, and breathe hair, and that's what people understand about hairdressers, especially the ones I work with. They are so passionate that it is like your heart's being ripped out. And so when that happened to me a couple of years ago, I was having some neck issues, very painful, like it felt like a knife was going through my neck. And, I think I know for years I've been having symptoms and stuff. I really didn't pay attention. I would just pop an Advil or ibuprofen, go have a drink after work, just not really paid attention to what my body was telling me. So long story short, I had to start cutting my hours out behind the chair because it was just too painful for me. And so what I did was I was very, very upset when I went to the doctor and found out what my diagnosis was. And I don't even like talking about it because I'll tell you when I talk about it, it starts making my body hurt. But I'll just give you a quick synopsis is that I was diagnosed with your neck is supposed to be at a natural curve. Mine goes straight up and down. And that's from years and years of being like this and not having good posture. And other things, I did a couple bodybuilding competitions, so I'm sure the weight of that was a lot for me. I also had breast implants, so that was weighing down on me. So there was a lot. It's like a perfect storm to mess up my body. So when I was told, the doctor said, you either need to stop moving or get your neck fused. And I was just so taken back. I was like, how can you tell somebody that? Like, that means I can't do hair because if I have limited mobility or I stop moving. That's not an option, right? He's just being a smartass. How can you sit there and say that to somebody and both options go to a dead end? And I went home and I knew it was like the beginning of the end for what I love to do. And I sat in that for probably a good month, like very, very upset, depressed, just going through the motions, trying to go to work and do my client's hair, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't even move. And when I got this diagnosis, it was in October. So November, December is the busiest time of the year for us. And I'm trying to do all these people's hair. I've already had them pre-booked for months out. So I'm like having people in my salon help me do blow dries because I literally could not even lift up my arm. So anyway, I just had to do some deep soul searching and figure out, okay, Tammy, what if you can't do hair anymore? What if, because in my mind, I had to go there. But at the same time, I knew I wasn't going to take that guy's diagnosis. So at the same time, I'm a what if. But then I started going and getting other opinions. I got 4 other opinions from neurosurgeons and therapists, physical therapists. And at the same time, I started moving forward. I'm like, I'm going to heal my body. And it's still in my mind. I'm still healing my body. So that was one thought process that the what if came up. And I had to dig deep. What do I love to do? But I had to quiet my defeating voices, right? I had to stop telling myself that this is going to be taken away from me. This is going to be taken away from me. I had to stop living in the fear and the uncertainty and the doubt. And the way that I did that, I actually teach a class on it. Because
I know I took it. I loved the class. Even like, I just loved the class as a reminder. Like when all of this kind of started, you had shared it. So I jumped on it because I think, it's really important. Like, even though we've talked a lot about these different things of affirmations and quieting that voice and knowing it, when you're faced with such uncertainty again, it's kind of like you have to start fresh and you have to approach things in a new way. Nobody's dealt with this before. So learning how to do things in a new way. And you've definitely been a light to a lot of this with the quieting your defeating voices.
And that is truly where it had to begin for me, because for that month I laid there night after night, just in a fetal position. Defeating voices were everywhere, and I knew, like, okay, I've got to get out of this. How do I do it? And so I started writing it down. Something called me to start writing down what I'm doing to quiet my defeating voices. I don't know why, right? At the time, I didn't know why, but I knew I needed to be writing it down. So I started writing down all the things that I was doing, and slowly but surely, I got out of bed every day. I started feeling better because I started practicing self-care. I started writing that down. How am I taking care of myself? Why?
So can you give an example of that?
Yeah. So like one of the self-care things where I had to get still because I was such an automatic mode, moving, like get up, go to the gym, come home, make my breakfast, go to work, come home. Like it was just like, and then, when you're at work as a hairdresser, you are overly stimulated. You've got music, you've got your friends, you've got your talking, you're figuring out formulas, you're figuring out your timing, you're returning phone calls, you're talking about 10 people's problems that day and fixing it. It's a psychological thing too that you're doing as a hairdresser. So when you really take a step back at what hairdressers do, it's so much more than a cut and color. And then you've got your whole life that you're dealing with. So I knew I had to get still. That was the number one thing. So I started meditating, and I had never done that before. I prayed. I definitely prayed. I pray every day. But meditation was a little bit different. So I started studying that. And then in that, I found some stillness. And in that, things really started getting clear for me. And I started doing like guided meditations. And I did just quiet meditation. I tried to find the one that worked right for me. And so that was really huge for me. Getting still as a hairdresser was huge for me. And that's when my creativity started flowing. That's when I started hearing, like, write this down. I mean, I can't tell you all the stuff I heard inside of meditation. And I never understood what it was until I did it. But I started getting these whispers, do this, do this. And I just started following it. I just started like, I'm going to just do this. I don't know what this is, but I could feel something pulling me towards it. And then I started marking out extra time in my book to sit down and eat and be still, and to take time to go to the bathroom and to drink the water and stay hydrated. And I noticed when I started having water in me and around me, I started feeling better. I mean, it was just these aha moments, and it's different for everyone. I'm not saying what works for me works for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I thought so many people meditate and there's something to it. And when I see people that do that, they start having all this creativity around them. And so I just started looking at my business differently. And I started writing it down. I'm like, I looked at people around me that had been doing hair just as long as I had been doing, and they were still building their clientele. But then I wasn't. Like, what am I doing to retain people that they're not doing? Because you shouldn't be building your clientele still, right? There shouldn't be these huge gaps in your books. You should be trying to fit people in, right? Or you're letting people go because you're too busy to do it. So I started writing down, what are the things that I do that keep people coming back? And it's something told me to write it down. So, Shandel, all this is going on for like a year. I'm writing this down. I didn't know what it was, but I started cutting my hours back. I started making more money than what I was making before with less clients, with all the actions and things that I was doing. And I thought, I need to create a class on this. That's what this is. Because as I've been an educator for all these years, I can teach my students a great color. I can teach them a great cut because I do assistant programs in the salons and stuff I work at. But if they don't believe in themselves that they can do it, it's just a great cut and color on the internet. It's not, they're not living into their full potential. And it's because they had those same defeating voices. They didn't believe in themselves. There's something that's holding them back from the past. There is a psychological thing to it that's holding these hairdressers back. And if I can take and apply what I just happened to me into them, and if I teach this and if they start growing, I know that this is my purpose. And so I reached out to someone and said, hey, I have this class. I want to do just like a private class with your salon to see if this works. And you know what? They did it. Some of them came, they didn't even know what it was about. They just came because they knew I had been teaching for so long that there was some type of value to it. And I knew, Shandel, when they took that class, if you look at those hairdressers now, I mean, the salon owner's salon that I was going to, she was going to close her salon. She didn't have a full book. She didn't have a full staff. And she's rebranded that salon. She has a full staff. She can actually take time off now and get paid while she's not working. And she has a team now that she's cultivated because they all came to that class and they have created a new mindset inside their salon. And what she has created now, I know that I was just a little bit of a catalyst for her. She did it, but I just showed her the way and she keeps doing it and she keeps sharing it. So then that's what propelled me. I'm like, I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep helping people. So that's kind of my story of where that first class came from and why I continue to do it, because I know it's making a difference. I know it's helping.
Good. I love that. And I agree with you on the, stylists believing in themselves, because from a different perspective, of course, because you're in education, I'm in sales. So I think we both have, felt that and talked about this before, is like, even from a sales perspective, working with salon owners, hairdressers. I've been raised in the industry, so even my mom is a hairdresser. So I just feel that, it would always be like, well, why do you do this stuff for free? Or why are you giving stuff away? And I just I couldn't understand. But then I guess I took that time for stillness in my life and understood some, I did some deep reflection myself and understood that it really comes down to that self-talk and that self-belief. And that's why when I took that course of yours, I just loved it. It was such a great refresher for me to hear someone else kind of talk about that, because I always say that little voice, she lies. I call her a nasty name, but I call her BITCH, and I say she lies all the time, like when I'm working with clients and coaching, like, don't listen to that. That person lies. And I think in general, our industry, I just really think it's such an empowering time right now to start working with some self-development and, even just connecting with yourself and being still and learning this stillness, because it's just a powerful time to do that. But I love that out of your uncertainty, you kind of created that stillness, or you made time for the stillness, which ended up creating some really great enlightenment for you and some path for you, which was great.
Yeah, and the thing is what you have to understand, no matter where you are, you have to keep moving forward. There is no grand plan. There is no certainty ever. We never have certainty. But it's the way in which you deal with it. You have to keep moving forward. And, even if your mind's not into it, move your body, move towards what you're going for. So, yeah, it makes a huge difference. And the class that you're talking about, the Quiet the Defeating Voices, that is just a segment that I took out of my original class, Living with Intention, that I felt would be so powerful for hairdressers. A few weeks ago, I was offering it for free. I did like three or four times I did it. But I know that it would make a difference because people kept signing up for it. They needed it. And everyone that's taken it, I follow up and make sure they're doing okay. I'm watching their Instagram posts. I'm watching their social media. And they're moving now. They were frozen before. And so I know it's just that one little, what was it, an hour, I think? That 60 minutes, if that could make a difference for everybody, that's huge. So that Quiet Defeating Voice was something that I just, when I woke up, when this was all happening, I kept saying, how can I turn fear into hope for people? How can I turn my fear into hope? Who am I going to show up as during this? And my number one strength from any strength finder that I go to is coaching. It says you're coaching. So if I'm going to coach people how to deal with the defeating voice. And that's why I was like, hey, if anybody wants to take it, I'm teaching it. Here it is for free, not charging. And that's the one that you signed up for. And it was funny, some people that had already taken my class signed up for it again.
Yeah.
Because this is a different type of defeating voice that we're having right now. It's bigger. And it gets fueled even more by what your relatives are saying, what the most social media is saying, what the news is saying. And that just fuels it. It's like more and more fire is getting added to the gasoline is being added to the flame. That's already burning inside of all of us. We always have that little voice. So yeah, that's why I did that. And that's, again, I'm going to offer it again. If people need it, I'll teach that because people need that right now. And it's funny because the fear comes up and down, right? So I don't think the little voice ever goes away, but it's just to have awareness that's there and then how to take steps to get rid of it. And I actually posted it on my Instagram. I did 3 days of fighting your defeating voice just to get it out there even more. So that's a resource people can go to and just read it.
Good. So for anyone out there, because I know that sometimes when you talk about that little voice, some people are not very connected to self, so they're not really aware that voice is there yet. Yep. So let's kind of speak to that a little bit. And I know that we won't go much into your course, but can you give an example of what that little voice says or an example of one and kind of how to switch that so that if people are wanting to connect with that they can understand that?
Well, one that has come up all the years I've been teaching, and they'll say it. Students will say it, like, I just can't do this. I'm not good enough. There's no way I could do that. And I'm sitting there, but what I used to say to people was, if I was your best friend and I was hanging out with you, and I said to you, Shandel, you're not good enough. You're not going to do a good job at this. You're going to mess up. Like, what are people going to think of you? If I were you, I would not do that. Would you hang out with me? Would you want to be around me all the time? No, you would not want to hang out with somebody. But we hang out with that little voice inside of us that says, I can't do this. I'm a failure. What are people going to think of me? And that is something that's there for a lot of people. So that would be one of the things you hear. Like, no way, I'm not going to do that. Like one of mine was, I'm not going to do live video. There's no way I'm doing live video. I mean, I can't tell you how many times my mentors that helped me with social media keep saying, Tammy, you have to do videos. If you want to grow as a person and you want to grow your business, you have to do video. And I'm like, oh, I do not want to do video. But I started doing it and was so uncomfortable, but I still do it. I mean, I'm still uncomfortable doing it, but I'm doing it. And every single time that I do it, I learn something. And what I do know is that there are people out there that are judging me right now. that don't have my best interest at heart, that don't agree with what I'm doing. But I know that it's helping. They don't see the other people that it's helping. They don't know the text messages and the calls that I'm getting saying thank you. So that voice for me is way bigger than all that because I'm not going that way. I'm going this way. I'm going to help people and share what I know because I know it works. If you apply it, I know it works because I've lived it. So that would be an example of a defeating voice. And again, you got to keep moving forward. It's always going to be there.
I totally agree with you. Yeah. And I'll share one of mine too. Like I have always, I'll think that I don't know enough yet. Like I'll wait for perfection. Like I try to wait for perfection instead of, because being in sales, it was always like prepare, 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 prepare. And then when you're ready, go. So had this drilled in my head since I've been 18 years old. So now when it comes out of stepping out of my comfort zone and people think like, oh, well, you do those, lives or you do the videos, it must be easy. I'm like, no, there's like 10 deleted videos behind there. Or they're
flying around. It's like, I can't worry about it. You can't.
Yeah. And I always it was like I was waiting for perfection instead of just kind of being present and doing that. And I'm actually reading a book about that right now because it's something that I have to remind myself is every time that something changes is going back and kind of resetting and realizing that just like so many people out there right now, every time we're faced with a new uncertainty, it's kind of just connecting back with self and remembering that little voice is so loud sometimes and how to connect with it. But if you were to give one tip besides the little voice of where to start, like I know the little voice, but if you said like, okay, tomorrow, what is one thing that they can do to help break out of the uncertainty? I know the little voice is one, but what's another one?
Well, I would say another thing that I had to get really, really clear on is I have to get crystal clear on what is it that you want. So you have to write it down. There is magic when you put pen to paper. Something will flow through you, but you got to keep writing. You got to trust the process. Write down, like, what do I want? Like, let's use the pandemic as an example, okay? Because I'm actually teaching a class on this. Here's another class on this. I'm going to share it right now.
You're on fire. You're on fire.
Because I know it works. I've done it. I know from me going through that issue with my neck, I did the work and I created something small, one class. And from that, I cannot tell you how much stuff has been created from me putting pen to paper. Right? So pen to paper, write down exactly what it is you want. Don't focus on where you are right now. It doesn't matter where we are right now. Right now is where you are. Just if you could close your eyes and wave your magic wand, what would your future look like? So for you hairdressers out there, what do you want your business to look like? Don't think about the quiet defeating voices because they're going to pop up. They're going to be like, are you crazy? You're never going to have that. Why are you writing that down? That'll never happen. Like all that stuff will start happening. Ignore it. Keep writing down what you want. So for example, I want to make this amount of money. I want this type of clientele. I want to look this way. I want to feel this way. I want my clients to feel this way. I want to be in this type of culture. I want to travel and take classes 3 times a year at an advanced course. I want to go to a hair show once a year. Whatever it is, I don't know what you want, but your definition of success and happiness is totally different than mine. It doesn't matter what everybody else is doing. You have to do what you want to do. And you have to write that down and really look at that. Because then from that plan that you just wrote, it's really a plan that you just wrote about your future. If you start looking at everything you're doing today in your life to make that happen, that will start making you live with intention. Because now you're living into what you're wanting to create instead of just behaving from your past behaviors. Because remember, you're always going to get what you've always gotten if you do what you've always done. Always. That's just the way it is. So what are you going to start doing today to start living into that intention of making that much money, of attracting that clientele? Like, so look, how do you want to attract that clientele? Well, right now you can go on and do a video and say, hey, I really am looking for clients that love corrective color. I love doing corrective color. And I know some of you are coloring your hair right now during this pandemic. going to fix your hair. Like, seriously, like that is what's going to happen. You know how many people are going to need their color corrected right now, or they cut their own bangs or whatever, their fringe. You know, it's like, think about it. There are clients out there right now that are going to need that, right? And if you say that that's what you're looking for, you will magically get people in your chair that have corrected color. So just start creating your future now. If you got to write it down, and you'll start thinking of all these cool ideas that will start making you do these things that are on your list. So that's what I'd say. Pen to paper, first thing, get crystal clear.
I love it. And I think that's really, that can work in many different things. And I know with some of the salespeople that I work with, when I kind of get in the cars and do the one-on-ones, I tend to, we talk about this stuff. I can't obviously do this at sales meetings, but that's some of the things we talk about when we're doing one-on-one is, what are some things you would like to achieve? And, I believe that no matter kind of what role you're in, you can take that piece of advice is living with intention, set the intention, and just go get it, go after it. And
well, I'll tell you, when I started that class, I did it for hairdressers, and I still do it for hairdressers. But what's funny is from me doing that class, my husband actually had me teach his sales team just the living with intention part, not behind the chair part, because the class is like two separate things. But living with intention does deal with quiet and receiving voices and getting crystal clear on what you want. Mm-hmm. And we take that into, his sales team, they start quiet the defeating voices that's holding them back, and they have a crystal clear action plan there. Those two, that's a game changer, right? Mm-hmm. And I also did it for this group of police officer wives. One of the girls that took my class belonged to this group, and she's like, "Hey, will you come and talk to these police officer wives?" And I'm like, "Sure." Like, see, I didn't know that all that 2 years ago, taking that pen to paper was going to lead me into these other things. Mm-hmm. But I was like, yes, I will do it. So that's the thing. You can write down this plan right now. You will never know where that action plan is going to take you in the future. Mm-hmm. It's like it'll take you into other. It won't even take. It'll have something not to even do with hair. You'll start doing something that fulfills you and makes you feel good because you finally sat still and wrote down what you really want. But the key is once you do that, you have to look at that list every single day. Now, as hairdressers, we're visual people, right? A lot of us are visual. We have to see the image. So what I love to do, and I live by it and I teach it, is to create that vision board of pictures of what that means to you to have those things. And you look at it every single day. You look at it. Because mm-hmm. that reminds you, oh, I'm not living into my future today. If I'm sitting here watching 8 hours of Netflix or, eating all these unhealthy foods, like that's not going to help me in my self-care and make the money that I'm looking. Like it's almost like a compass to keep you in line with what you want. So I know people laugh at me for living that way, looking at these vision boards, but I'm really happy in my life. I'm really creating what I want. So it's obviously working.
Mm-hmm. Right? Girl, I live by vision boards. I feel like every time I move, I have this little stack of vision boards. It's like, well, I'm not going to throw it away because that happened. So I like to prove that happened. And yeah.
I have five vision boards right now. I put them in my bathroom. At the top is the oldest one, and then I have them down. So, you go to the bathroom every day. I just look at it every day. Yeah. Look at it. What am I creating? Who do I want to connect with? If I ever feel bad on a day, I look at that vision board and I'm like, that's why I don't feel good. It's because I'm not living into my future. Mm-hmm. And one of those, I'm going to give you one example. Actually, I got to plug up my computer just a second.
It looks a lot warmer where Tammy is than where I am because it was just snowing here. I'm in Toronto, Canada, and I believe she's in Arizona.
Oh, it's beautiful here. That's my saving grace.
Did you just hear me? I said it is way warmer where you are. It was just snowing here.
Okay, so I'll give you an example of what happened to me one day. I was in a rush, going to work, running around, and I was just feeling anxiety. I was feeling anxious, and I've only had that feeling one time before when I got on a ski lift and got up in the sky. I had an anxiety attack. So I knew I had felt it once before. And I started feeling that way, and I started crying. I was like, something is off. And I went in, and I looked at my vision board. Something made me go in there and look at it. And I was like, why am I so off today? And you know what it was? And I know this is so silly. I had not practiced my self-care that day. I did not pack my lunch that day or my dinner. I had forgot to pack it, and I had like an 8-hour day that day. And I was like, damn, that is it. And as soon as I stopped, I called my client. I said, hey, I'm running about 15 minutes late. I apologize. I just wanted to let you know. I will meet you at the salon at this time. And she was fine with it. But I stopped and I packed my lunch really quickly and I got my water bottle, I got my dinner, and then I left. And girl, totally felt amazing because that was my internal like compass saying you're not taking care of yourself. And at the time, my number one thing that I wanted to create was self-care for myself. So it was really huge that it was almost like my intuition was telling me that's what was wrong. So it was just an example of how it works. If you pay attention, you're feeling off that day, you're not feeling right, you go to that list or that vision board, and that's what's wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can totally relate to that in a different way. I loved wine. Like everybody knows that. I just love to have my wine nights. Every night that ended with wine was a good night to have wine. And it wasn't working well with me anymore. And I noticed like I would change when I had wine, and some nights I'd be fine and other nights I wouldn't. And it just wasn't connecting with me. And in my meditation, I kept feeling like you have to give up wine. Like you have to give up wine. And I was like, no, like there's no way. Like I will give my right arm. I am not giving wine. And I really struggled with it. And I thought about it for months, and I'd take a month off here and a month off there. And I was like, okay, well, it's not so bad. And of course, being in business, you're always taking people out for dinner. It's very much a part of our business culture and very much part of our industry. So I was like, oh no, I'm going to be such an idiot and loser if I don't drink. Like, this is going to be so weird. And all of those little voices in my head, but I knew deep down, like to you, I would get anxious every time. And I knew that it just wasn't for me anymore. So I decided to just like get rid of all alcohol. And I decided to do it just for a year. And the difference it's made in my life of like just being more, the things that I get more now, like the connections and the messages, I feel like, I know that sounds kind of like, spiritual, but like when I'm in my meditation, the things that I get, like to your point, but it was all I knew was that the wine was kind of holding me back. I love to get up early mornings, but I'd be a little groggy if I had a couple glasses of wine the night before. And it was just removing something that wasn't serving me, because everything on my vision board, I was creating it, like everything from getting my job back again at TG, like everything was going, like everything was what I wanted and what I had put pen to paper, but there was something that was not connecting me through. And it's been amazing just in a couple of months. I'm not saying everybody give up wine, because someone else's might be that, or for you, it's packing your lunch, your self-care. But I knew that I couldn't get to the level of self-care I needed to, and couldn't connect with myself in the way that I needed to, and face everything that I was going to face this year. Little did I know the pandemic was coming. Had I had wine in my life, because it was stopping me from a deeper level of connection with self. So I totally agree with connecting to what's serving you and what's not serving you, and sticking with that. But
yeah, that's a hard thing to do, because it's what you have to understand though is it's a pattern that's been created in your life, and you can break that pattern. Trust me, girl, I was the biggest drinker of all. You can ask any of my friends. My old drinking name was Tamika. Okay, so trust me, I loved it, but it's the same thing. Didn't feel good anymore. I would say things I didn't want to say. I was doing things I didn't want to do. I'd feel foggy, la la la. So there's just certain things. I mean, everybody has something, advice or something that doesn't serve them to their highest good, and you're not going to let go of it until you're ready to let go of it. I mean, I'd be in my 40s before I let go of it. But, there's a time and a place for everything. But you just have to, the key here is to, when you're feeling anxious about something or you're feeling fearful about something, what are you focusing on? And you're probably focusing on something that hasn't even happened yet. Go back to that pen to paper list. And if you start focusing on that, you start operating in a different way. When you take that behind your chair, you're going to be on fire, girl. When you get back into that salon, your clients aren't going to know what hit them. They're going to be like, what happened to her? She's on fire. She's making stuff happen. And that's what I hope hairdressers walk away with, is we get this opportunity right now to reinvent ourselves, to recreate the business that we really want to have. I mean, when we look back right now at anything in our life, personal or professional, there were things that we wish we would have been doing differently. We just didn't have the time to do it, right? Now we have the time to create the future.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter if you're a hairdresser or not. You can create a new you at any time. But if you don't get crystal clear on it, you're just kind of reacting to life instead of being proactive to your life.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah.
And to your point of the story is everybody thinks you have to do in order to create. But what I love about your story is that you sometimes have to just be still in order to create, which is a great opportunity. So not putting the pressure on yourself right now to, do a ton of things, but just see what comes up. And I think that's such a wonderful message for everyone in this time and everything they're dealing with.
Yeah, and also like don't put this expectation on you that this is a to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
This should not be a to-do list. You should not be dreading doing it. This is what gets you up, and once you like moves you forward, it should pull you towards it. Like you can't wait to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the list is. Because if it's a to-do list, it's not the right list, right? This is going to set you on fire. Like you can't wait to do it. You can't wait to connect with people that are doing it. You'll be studying it. You'll be wanting to learn more about how to create it. That's living with intention. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's truly living out your intention in life. Mine just happened to be behind the chair. Like now it's different. Now mine's living with intention on coaching people. I've talked to people that do coaching. I study people that do coaching. I'm taking a coaching class. I'm learning how to connect with people in a different way because it's a pull towards something now. And now I've never even thought I would say this in a million years. Just as much as I love doing hair, that's how much I love giving education to my students. It's the same passion. And you could have not told me 3 years ago that those words would have came out of my mouth. I would have been, no way, right? But I'm still getting back. I'm still doing my self healing. I'm still doing my self care, and maybe I will get behind the chair again one day. And I'm working towards it. I'm not giving up on that journey. And I'll know when the time is right. I'm just keep moving forward. I'm not going to let anything hold me back. So we'll just see what happens. But in the meantime, I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm not going to dwell on the fact I'm not behind the chair right now, and I don't want everybody else to dwell on it right now. Take what you have right now and do something that you love to do. I mean, when you look at our team alone, we have so many people doing cool things. The people on the internet, like just look. People are doing painting classes. They're offering yoga classes. They're doing like meditation classes. It's more than just, some people are teaching cut and color right now, which is great. But there's these passions that are in us that we are meant to share with people. And we have time to do it right now.
I know. It's so great. Every time I speak to you, you just like light me up. I love it. You do morning calls.
I'm ready. I'm on fire.
But that's why I just want to say thank you so much for joining, and your insight and your energy is just amazing. And I think that so many people just need that energy. And I that's why I love, like, I know we keep sharing like, hey, Tammy's offering this, this complimentary class or whatever, free class. But it's like, I said to you, I was like, people don't know your story. Like, I want people to connect with you the way that I connect with you and see that powerful message that you have. So thank you so much for joining me today. And hopefully let us know when you're doing your next classes.
Yeah, I will. I'll be announcing one tomorrow. It's free. I'm not charging for it. It's just something that came to me. It's called What's Next for You. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do just a 1 hour social gathering with whoever wants to join. And we're going to actually do it. We're going to write it all out. We're going to create your action plan in 1 hour and just watch the magic happen, girl. It's going to be awesome.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being, I call it the light in this storm.
Thank you.
There's so many people that are being lighthouses, and I appreciate you.
Yep, I appreciate you. And thanks everybody for watching. I see all my hairdresser friends. I got to give some shout outs real quick.
Okay.
My friends from St. Louis, the Wisers, Julie Weiser and Rob Weiser, hi. And Kimberly Morris, I see you. And Brian Hart up in Canada. You know Brian.
Oh, hi, Brian.
Brian's watching. Lethan here in AZ. David Brown in St. Louis. And Janice up in, I think Janice is in Detroit, right? Janice Ediger. Bonnie in St. Louis. Ellie. So we love you guys. And we
appreciate Deanna, Julie are on there. Hi, ladies.
Yep, Deanna. Ashley Rock.
Oh, hi.
Girl. Ashley Preston, she's up in Canada. And we got California in the house, Lori Lopez. Danny, I see you in St. Louis. Michelle Rain up in Seattle. Look, we're connecting all of our friends.
Love it.
I know. All right. Well, everybody have a great day and great talking with you.
And thanks for the Be Live lesson.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you need to charge it? Well, it's free.
I learned something new today because of you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Everybody have a great day.
All right. See you. Bye.